As Donald Trump made his first forays into Atlantic City, Fred Trump sharply increased the flow of money to his son. He transferred today's equivalent of at least $46.2 million. Mr. Trump gained control of a prime spot on the Atlantic City boardwalk. Unable to get financing to build a casino, he forged a partnership with Harrah's Entertainment, a national gambling operator. Harrah's agreed to provide Mr. Trump, who did not put any additional money into the deal, with $220 million in financing to build the project, to pay him $24 million construction management fee, and to give him half the profits. The 39-story Harrah's at Trump Plaza opened in 1984. "Donald, hey, Donald, Donald!" The men were yelling, eager to call him by name. A storm front of cigar smoke was gathering above the hotel ballroom, packed elbow to elbow for a breakfast-hour sports forum with a crowd that included some of New York's most wealthy, powerful, and famous men. Mayor Koch was there, Mayors Lindsay and Beam, 2 United States senators, the 5 borough presidents, judges, labor leaders, business tycoons, and sports celebrities, as well as team owners and executives such as George Steinbrenner, Sonny Werblin of the Knicks and Rangers, Freddie Wilpon, president of the Mets, and several hundred men who make it their business to rub shoulders at such functions. Yet somehow, everyone at this sports function was drawn to Donald Trump, who inched his way towards the exit, dragging a dozen reporters, and the crowd stood on their tiptoes to wave and call to him, like so many bejeweled rock star fans. There was a desperation about them as they reached through the reporters to pat him on the back, to grasp his hand, or just to stuff a business card into his coat pocket. If only he could cut them in. Donald J. Trump is the man of the hour. Turn on the television or open a newspaper almost any day of the week, and there he is. He has no public relations agent. His competitors wonder how this can be, but watching him that morning in April 1984 provided an explanation. Donald Trump was electrifying the room with rat-a-tat-tat revelations. He said that he would continue to create chaos for the NFL, and by the way, that he planned to build a domed stadium in New York. Roy M. Cohn, Mr. Trump's friend and attorney, said, "If the charge is that Donald is unsophisticated, they are in some ways right." Mr. Cohn adds, he has an uncanny sense of knowing that something is a good deal when it looks dismal to everyone else. Fred Trump, who had described his son's efforts to buy the hotel as fighting for a seat on the Titanic, offers a different explanation for his son's success. It's in his genes. In November 1984, Donald Trump hung up and said to me, "See what I do? All this bullshit. Know what? After shaking 5,000 hands, I think I'll go wash mine." "Whatever complicates the world more, I do," he said. "Come again?" "It's always good to do things nice and complicated so that nobody can figure it out." Mr. Trump is the master of grand plans, now hoping to build the greatest hotel in the world, along with the world's tallest building in New York City, and perhaps someday fulfill his fantasy of becoming the U.S. negotiator on nuclear arms limitation talks with the Soviets. What I have done is build the most beautiful buildings in the best locations, and I'm 38, and I like to live in a certain way. That whole combination leads up to something. This morning, Trump has a new idea. He wants to talk about the threat of nuclear war. He wants to talk about how the United States should negotiate with the Soviets. Mr. Trump wants to be the negotiator. Mr. Trump says he has never acted on his nuclear concern, but he says that his good friend Roy Cohn, the flamboyant Republican lawyer, has told him this interview is a perfect time to start. Mr. Trump says, "Some people have an ability to negotiate. It's an art you're basically born with. You either have it or you don't." He would know what to ask the Russians for, he says, but he would rather not tip his hand publicly. Mr. Trump says, "In the event anything happens with respect to me, I wouldn't want to make my opinions public. I'd rather keep those thoughts to myself or save them for whoever else is chosen. It's something that somebody should do that knows how to negotiate and not the kind of representatives that I've seen in the past." He could learn about missiles quickly, he says. It would take an hour and a half to learn everything there is to learn about missiles. I think I know most of it anyway. You're talking about just getting updated on a situation. You know who really wants me to do this? Roy. I'd do it in a second.